1000.
Then she turned towards him slowly. "Why, thank you, Norman," she said, and she smiled. Hey guys, Jack Jackson here. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Today is a very special day because we should be getting a mail pod. These are sort of shuttlecraft that bring us new supplies every 5 months, including food, water, movies for me to watch, all sorts. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just charging my laser pistol because this old beast, which I cobbled together myself, seems to run out of batteries quite quickly, and I'm trying to sort of make it rechargeable so that I can constantly have power in it, because it's quite dangerous here. And you don't want this thing failing on you when you're outside in the jungles.
Attention, crew members. Mail pod has arrived in Bay 7.
The mail pod has arrived, exactly on time. Now, if my calculations are correct, this one should have the movie Sphere, which is based on the Michael Crichton book of the same name, a book I read this morning, actually. Very good. And I'm interested to see how the film has held up after all these years, because it's one of those films that I feel like I never really hear people talking about it much anymore. I mean, you can scour the internet and find 1 or 2 reviews, but what's Sphere really like after all this time? But anyway, I'm just going to call my robot buddy, Jones, who is down in the cargo hold at the moment. He's looking for pizzas for me. He has this sort of delusion that I really want to eat a pizza, which I'm not too fussed, really. So Sphere was inside the pod. Just as I predicted. I can't wait to watch this. Right, I'm just going to pop the old telly on. While we wait for that to load up, I just want to say that Sphere is one of those movies that I feel like gets confused with films like The Abyss or Leviathan. Even though Leviathan came out many years before this, I feel like more people connect this to The Abyss, even though they were made 10 years apart. I mean, I even put them on the shelf next to each other in my DVD collection in my sleeping quarters. But it's strange when movies are like that, like Armageddon or Deep Impact or A Bug's Life and Ants or Twister and Night of the Twisters. You don't remember that one? Came out the same year. It's about tornadoes. Anyway, let's just watch this. I am excited. Haven't seen this in years. Wonder what it's going to be like. That was actually really good. This film's matured well since 1998. I wonder what the internet thinks of it. You know, you should never read reviews before a film, always afterwards, if you have to. I'm just curious because not many people talk about this film anymore. 12%? 12%? Surely Sphere deserves more than 12%. So, in this humble space adventurer's opinion, Sphere is actually a really underrated movie and a great adaptation of the book. It's probably the second best adaptation of Michael Crichton's work, and I'm talking about how close it is to its source material. I don't really like to compare books and films too much because they're two different mediums and there's different rules that apply to each storytelling method. So when you adapt a book on screen, you will have to take artistic liberties in cutting things down to make it fit in like a runtime, which some people find annoying, but others, like myself, I don't mind as long as the film's actually good. And to me, Sphere does a really good job of that. The acting in the film is all, spot on. They all sell their characters really well. It's believable. Dustin Hoffman is one of my favourite characters in the film because I like the idea of a psychiatrist getting thrown into this situation. It's an aspect of the book that I really liked as well. The idea that you've got all these scientists that are leaning on this psychiatrist for help, and he's out of his depth, but he can't show that he's like terrified to the rest of the crew because he's meant to be this sort of fixed point that they can all focus on. And I really like that angle that Michael Crichton wrote, and I think Dustin Hoffman really pulls off the character well. It's interesting though that you've got this group of people who are all mentally unstable in a way, and the psychiatrist is the guy they're sort of looking to, and his name in the book is Norman Johnson. I'm just going to double check that I've got my reference right. I think it's in the opening chapter. Norman Johnson, yes. Norman Johnson, but in the film he's called Norman Goodman. And there's a scene where he has a patch on his back where it just says Norm. So you're telling me that the psychiatrist is known as Norm Goodman? Normal Goodman? Come on. I don't understand the name change. But anyway, that's one little tiny nitpick with this film for me. But he does a damn good job. And Samuel L. Jackson is great as the doubtful mathematician, which is something we've seen a lot in Michael Crichton's work, what with like the character Ian Malcolm from the Jurassic Park series. Sharon Stone is fantastic. She gives a lot of quirks to her character that give away that there's something hidden inside of her that she doesn't want the rest of the team to know, except for Norman, who they've had a history together. And I think they play it really well. There's many times where if you watch Norman's character, he's looking at like Sharon Stone's character Beth and the others, and like looking at the way they're acting, which is what a psychiatrist would do in that situation. He's bringing his talents to the group, but he's doing it secretly because he can't just sit there and go, you're being really angry, you're being sad, because that will upset people. He's got to do it in a way that works. So I think the acting's really good. All the other Levi Schreiber, or Levi Schreiber, should I say, he's fantastic in pretty much any role that he plays, and in this he's really good as the sort of young scientist who's always trying to better his competition, and I really like that. So the acting gets 2 thumbs up from me. The effects in this film are fantastic as well. They've held up since 1998 really well. It uses a lot of CGI, like early CGI, which they use sparingly. Obviously, the sphere itself is done with computer graphics, and some people might say looks dated, but to me it feels like, because it stands out against the rest of the film, this giant golden, wriggling ball of CGI goodness, it stands out against the rest of the film aesthetically, which makes it feel alien, which is what it's meant to be. And I think it really works. And, this was 1998. This isn't like, whatever year we're in now, where like CGI is getting perfected to be more and more real, by each movie. And so I think they really did a good job of selling this giant spherical object. And there are some scenes where it's like, the effects, look a little bit dated. But what film doesn't have perfect effects throughout? There's no film out there that does that. And what a lot of people don't realise is a lot of miniature work was used in this film. There's this giant fin of the spacecraft that's crashed under the ocean, and the habitat base and some submarines were all done with miniatures, and they don't look like miniatures at all because it's set underwater. They can hide a lot of the effects, and it just works really, really well. And I just love the effects in this film. It holds up, and they use them just right. I mean, in the jellyfish sequence when Queen Latifah's character gets attacked by all the jellyfish, they used real, practical and CGI jellyfish all in one shot, and it just makes it look fantastic because you've got all these elements working together. So the effects are great. And yeah, I love the score by Elliot Goldenthal because I'm a huge fan of his work. One of my favourite film scores of all time is Alien 3, which he did, and he takes a lot of cues from Alien 3 in this. And the score is terrifying, and it brings this claustrophobic feel to the movie. Now, talking about Alien makes me want to talk about how this film feels like Jurassic Park and Alien had a baby. This is a subject that hit me when I was watching it, and that I wanted to touch upon. Because this is Michael Crichton's work, you have this group of scientists who are going off to an unknown location to study something that is beyond their comprehension. And you have the doubtful scientist, you have the scientist who's sort of in the middle, and you have the scientist it's almost like it's their exact subject that they're going to talk about. So you have Alan Grant, who loves dinosaurs, and he goes off to the island to see cloned dinosaurs. You have Dustin Hoffman, who's a psychiatrist, who goes down to see an alien spacecraft, and then it turns out it's all to do with the mind. yeah, really good. It feels like Jurassic Park all over. And there's even a scene like in this film which really reminds me of certain scenes in Jurassic Park. You have like a dinner sequence where they're debating the science and ethics of what's going on, exactly like in Jurassic Park. And you have a moment where, like in JP, where John Hammond looks out the window and goes, "There it is," and there's this big triumphant score by John Williams as the island comes in. Well, in this, when they first see the fin of the spacecraft, they all look out the porthole window, and the big triumphant score from Elliot Goldenthal kicks in, and it just reminds me of that sequence from Jurassic Park. And Alien, it feels like Alien because one, the setting, even though they're underwater, it might as well be a spaceship. They can't go outside. They have to, if they do, they have to put spacesuits on, the equivalent of spacesuits. You've got the whole spacecraft crashed underneath the coral, and you've got the giant sphere in there, which is almost like the space jockey sequence. And the score by Elliot Goldenthal, as I mentioned, he did Alien 3, so it has the soundtrack to almost like an Alien film on it. And even the acting feels like an Alien movie because it's very believable and grounded. And that's kind of what Jurassic Park brought as well. So, because I feel like the acting in Jurassic Park and Alien, they're quite similar in style. Jurassic Park is a bit more cheesier than Alien in parts. I mean, I'm talking about the original Alien, not, Get Away From Her, You Bitch from Aliens, which is very cheesy. But the Sphere has a blend of both, and I feel like this is a hybrid of Alien and Jurassic Park. I know what you're thinking. By deductive logic, that means Sphere should be my favourite movie if it's like Jurassic Park and Alien mixed together. But I'm gonna say it's not. It just doesn't hit the marks that I don't know. Maybe I didn't grow up with it or something. But over the years, now I've come to appreciate this film as an underrated piece of cinema, which should get a lot more praise than it gets. I mean, a lot more than 12%. And it even pays homage to films like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Leviathan and all those sort of films. It's an amalgamation of everything that came before, but it's an adaptation of Michael Crichton's book. So it kind of just brings something new to the table. This idea of a spaceship finding something out in the cosmos that we can't explain. And that's why I give it 2 thumbs up. I love this movie, and I think you should watch it again if you haven't seen it in a few years. Then go and watch it, pop it in a DVD player, and it's definitely worthy to go on your shelf. But yeah, there we go. Now, watching this movie's given me an idea. They fly through a black hole and end up back on Earth. Maybe, computer?
Yes.
Is there a black hole near us?
Searching. Yes.
There is. What a stroke of luck. I'm gonna go find Jones, and then I think, yes, hold that thought.
Yes.
Jones! Yo, Jones! Where are you? Jones, where are you, man? Jones! Oh, I bet he's in here. Hey, Sphere.
I am the great and powerful Sphere. Bow down before my greatness. My eternal power will grant your every wish and desire true. So what will it be? Would you like to fly through a dying sun, riding a comet, playing chess with your least favorite celebrity?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. How would you like fingers as long as your legs, or legs as long as your fingers?
No.
No? Okay. What about chips for lips?
Nope.
No? How would you like to crap your pants for a month?
Oh, no, dude, that's great.
Oh.
Listen, have you seen Jones?
Jones? No, I haven't seen him in a while, actually. He's definitely not inside me.
He's not inside you.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Look, if you see Jones around, you'll let me know, okay?
Yes. Well, what are you doing anyway?
Planning on flying through a black hole to see if we can get back to Earth that way.
Well, I can grant you back to Earth. You know I can do that. Just like last time.
Well, when you did it, we ended up on Earth,
Oh.
or so we thought, and we were living there for months, but it wasn't real. Nothing you create is real.
You don't want my help then? I see. I know how it is.
No, I've got to go.
How would you like to have eyeballs for testicles and testicles for eyeballs? No. Please come back. Please. Damn it.
Well, folks, I couldn't find Jones. My guess is that blasted robot is inside the sphere, partying it up. Well, that's what an imagination does to an artificial life form. Well, I hope he's alright as we do this. Computer, set a course for the black hole. Get choppy water!
Jack Jackson, please regain consciousness.
Did we make it?
That was not a good idea.
Where are we?
Scanning for star system data.
This can't be right. I don't know where we are.
You are not going to like this.
The M82 galaxy? Oh, that's 11.51 light years away from the Milky Way. So we're even more lost now. Damn! Well, I guess in conclusion, folks, you can't trust black holes. You know why? Because they're assholes.